Hi, lovely multidimensional beings. Good morning here from the Netherlands. You guys, I want to talk to you about the energies of 2026, and boy, oh boy, are we in for a ride. One of the beautiful souls in our community replied yesterday, I think it was. I talked about this. This isn't our first rodeo, and it was beautiful. I didn't make that link, but we are, of course, in a year of the fire horse. So this year is going to be one big rodeo, you guys. It's tremendous. As a lot of you probably already know, the elements that are going to be the most dominant this year are fire and air. And what happens when air meets fire? You can see it in nature. It catalyzes each other. It's pooh. Can you feel it? I feel it in my system. This is going to be mind-boggling, mind-blowing. Literally because we're in air combined with fire. So our consciousness is going to expand like crazy, like crazy. Yesterday I was in a session with also a lovely soul, and I said to him, "We are now in a conversation talking about certain subjects, and in 4 months, I'm curious. I'm not even curious because I feel it. We're going to have a completely different conversation." But to get back at 2026, it is going to be very important that we really need to work with the elements that are there. So, for the people who already have a lot of air and fire energy in your chart, for those who are not so much familiar with astrology, there are lots of websites that you can put in your data, and you can see your astrology chart, and you can check which elements are the most dominant in your beingness. So when you have a lot of air and fire energy, this is going to be you're going to be like catapulted, and grounding is going to be your main practice, really. Making sure that your nervous system isn't getting completely fried is going to become your main practice. And luckily we already have been practicing this because we had, maybe in different elements, because 2025 were more about water and earth. Um, but we have been already needing to make huge changes in our lives in order for our nervous system to come out of survival mode. And this will take off tremendously in April. In April, we're going to really, really take off with this energy. So, you guys, please, I know a lot of people are going completely already about, oh, we're in it now. We have to get going. No, just if you check in with your own nature, you feel that we are still in the closing out. We're still, of course, you feel the pull. I feel already a different energy coming into the game onto the stage, but it's not of that dominant force that it will drag us out of what needs to close out, what needs to be closed, and we're still in the closing out. So please take this time to rest, to integrate, to close out everything that needs to be closed out, because I believe today it's a full moon in Cancer. It's huge, you guys. It's a very, very sensitive, emotional, psychic energy that we are downloading, especially because Sirius is conjunct the full moon, and Sirius is the is such a high frequent light that gives us psychic insights, spiritual expansion, together with already very sensitive and psychic Cancer. It's a lot. I feel the last days for me have been all about integration, integration, integration. Rest. I rest a lot. I am in vibration mode um, a lot. There is not much activity to the outside world that I really can take upon me at the moment. So take your time to really honor. I cannot stress this enough. Take your time to honor this time frame, because in April it's go time, and we cannot believe how fast our consciousness is going to expand. And I have been talking about this expansiveness already for a few months. Some souls have already picked it up. Other souls are in April are going to definitely pick this up, becoming this multidimensional being. There is no up or down anymore. There is no left or right anymore. We are it. We become the cosmos. We are the cosmos. So boundaries are shifting. Time is completely dissolving. Everything that we have believed to be left, right, up, down, uh, doesn't matter. It will completely change within now and this coming year. Um, so what is so potent, especially in this time frame, is pick up your spiritual practice, be disciplined in meditation, be disciplined in your shadow work, because everything we thought was left, right, up, down doesn't matter. And because all the structure we have gotten used to in for thousands of years, this is going to it's already breaking down, but in this coming year it's really burning burning to the ground. So if you are still attached to certain ideas about how the world is, or very fixated spiritual or religious dogmas, please be aware you're going to get in for a ride this year. You're going to have a pretty wild rodeo, so to say, because everything is it's mind blowing. It's really mind blowing. So I feel the people who have more earth and water energy. I'm a bit of a mix. I'm earthy type, but I also have uh, quite some water, but I also quite some fire and a bit of air. So there is not a real dominant factor, I guess, in my chart. But if you feel there is a very dominant air or a very dominant fire, I'm not saying you have to become anxious. That's not at all what I'm saying, because I feel we came onto this planet with our tools that are specifically meant for our journey, and they are exactly right. There is no default, as there is no default in this. So I'm not saying to worry, but just mind your grounding practice. Go outside, be in nature, take time to get out of your mind. If you have a lot of air energy, if you have a lot of fire energy, you're gonna need to learn to really stop, to really sometimes get off of that horse, if you can, and rest and just be, and also ground, and feel. Oh, I'm already forgot the most important one, because that definitely will ground you. Feel, 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 feel. And as we have been feeling a big time in 2025, it was just horrendous how much we felt. You're going to sense that in this year, 2026, the emphasis is not going to be so much on really feel the feels, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to be introduced with it as naturally as we have in 2025. But please do introduce yourself, keep on introducing yourself to your feels in this year, because it will balance things out. We really need to learn to take care of our nervous system, and knowing what is naturally working on us in this year, mainly being air and fire. But let's not forget, in April, Uranus is going to transit Gemini, so there's even more air. It's still, Uranus is still in Taurus until April, so we have make use of that influence of Uranus still being in Taurus. That is really about honoring nature, embodiment, anchoring in our divine wisdom. Plus, I'm almost forgetting this, the North Node, our collective North Node, is going to switch to Taurus this year. I'm not sure, let's see, not sure when. I will put it down underneath this description, but it will transit into Taurus for a bit. It will go back, but there is still some earthy vibes going on this year. What is highly needed, but the collective nodes are also all about trauma. So there is a lot of trauma about honoring our deep natural ways, and I talk about this a lot with you guys, especially empaths, light workers, starseeds, heyokas. They have such a deep connection to nature, and we have been shamed and ridiculed and judged by our innate wisdom towards nature. So here also comes the witch wound. It is so necessary for us to alchemize, to transmute these traumas, so we can work with our innate wisdom that we always carried with us, but has been pushed to the side by patriarchy, by trauma. We lost our connection to, okay, how Taurus is a very slow sign. It's about the senses. It's about taking in the oxygen that you breathe. What do you smell? The leaves. For instance, in the autumn, I really was so much enjoying the rot of the leaves. That is a typical smell for the autumn. Or now when I walk in the forest, I smell the snow and some hinges of how do you call that in English? The pine tree smell comes a bit through. It's way more there in the summer. As you see, I had a Taurus energy there is in my fundament. So I can talk a lot about. I'm very Taurus oriented in that way, to really take time to get attuned to your own environment, to the nature you're living in, and the nature in a bigger way, your environment you're living in, to tune into that. So yeah, you guys, when Uranus in April is going to transit Gemini, we are going to be in for a hell of a ride. Gemini is the mind. It's an agile, fast thinking, a bit of a restless energy, highly intelligent. Um, we also have had the influences of Neptune and Saturn when Uranus was already for a short time in Gemini, and your psychic abilities you have maybe already felt are going to skyrocket, and it's not going to stop because the galactal downloads that we are getting, they are not going to stop anytime soon. So a lot of, if you are not already, more and more souls are going to wake up to their psychic abilities. Our sleeping DNA, so to say, is really going to come online. And for a small group of souls, I already made a short yesterday about this. And I feel there are quite some people who follow me who are already working with this energy, and it's definitely not an easy energy. You are feeling the big sacrifice that you are going to make. It's not even a choice. The last degrees of Pisces is all about big sacrifice. And it's a sacrifice for a lot of us to let go of selfhood in order to be of service. And for your source essence nature, this is not a sacrifice, but for your egoic nature, this definitely is a sacrifice, because your way of operating is going to turn 180 degrees. Before, you were maybe still a humanitarian, and you were, because since you're an empath, you naturally are, and you are empathetic to the people around you, but your main focus has always been about me, myself, and I. So, because we had a lot of trauma, still childhood trauma, that certain needs didn't get met, and we were still projecting it on the here and now, and then on the future, and this has been burned away. I don't know if you guys feel it. For me, it's so strange that that part has burned away, and now I'm saying it's so strange, and the other end, I think, for fuck's sake, I have done so much transmuting and alchemizing. I also find it a big relief that there isn't a lot of energy still going towards what I want to get met in this life. I need this, or I need that, or it is. I'm not saying we shouldn't take care of ourselves, but that's a completely different thing. Self-care is and will be so important, but I'm talking about needing things outside of ourselves to feel whole. For a small group of souls, this has 2025 has completely burned the victim hood mentality completely away. So you're being initiated in your bodhisattva nature, and I talked about this also. You are starting to feel the nature you have always been but couldn't flourish. Your colors couldn't shine because of all the traumatic debris, generational trauma, karma that you brought to this life in the beginning, the first half, maybe three quarters of your life. So you're going to experience, especially now in February, Saturn and Neptune are going to transit into Aries, that you are going to experience a completely different cycle, especially Saturn, because you have matured. The past 30 years, Saturn has been moving through all of the signs, all of the houses, making a full circle, complete circle in February. And now Aries is asking of you, okay, Neptune is going to come with it, and Neptune is a highly spiritual influence. So together we have the teacher being Saturn. It's looking over the shoulder of the very impulsive and enthusiastic Mars. But we also have Neptune looking over the shoulder of Aries, and they're both um, talking to Aries, and Aries can never be the same anymore. It cannot be that immature, toxic masculinity, because that's often talked about when we're talking about Aries. But Aries is so much more. Aries is the first spark that separates from source. Pisces, it's the first spark of life. It's life force. And where do you want to invest that life force in? And since Saturn has made a complete cycle, maybe 30 years ago you were investing your life force in relationships, in status, in ambition, in love, in sex, in appearance, whatever it is. You can check in with yourself. And now maybe it would be really, really nice for yourself to just write down for yourself, okay, where do I want to invest my life force in? What ignites this spark? What feels closest to my nature? Not what feels closest to my fragmented self, but what feels closest to my nature. So this is not, yeah, I've talked about it a lot, and I think a lot of people out here on YouTube talk about it a lot, but it's just because it's so thrilling that we are becoming completely, and I mean completely, new beings. When I talked about the complete collapse of identity, I didn't only talk about a psychological process, because a lot of us have experienced this collapse of identity before. I'm talking about the body is also identity. We are biologically changing. I have, I don't know if you can see it in yourself, but I see the features of my face change. And not only because I'm growing old, but I see my biology is changing in a very rapid pace. Not only the outside, but also the inside. So it is accelerating. It's huge, but it takes a lot of discipline to remain stable and to remain present in the coming year. Uranus plays, of course, it is the leading planet of Aquarius, and Pluto has been in there since 2024. And it tends to expand, upwards, the higher chakras. So please do mind, I cannot stress this enough, to be disciplined in what your nervous system needs, what the earthy elements, how you keep yourself grounded. so you can balance the elements of 2026. I leave you guys with this, and much love.